welcome back for lesson 2. If you missed yesterday's lesson, go back to the assignment that says lunes 23 de marzo. Start there, and then you can come back to today's assignment. So, as I mentioned before, I highly recommend that you find a quiet place where you can focus on what you need to do for this class. Realistically, most of these assignments are going to take you 15, 20, maybe 30 minutes, right? Which is still a lot shorter than an average class period. So, for that short amount of time, I would really encourage you to put away your phone, put away other distractions, get somewhere where it's quiet so you can focus, and where you can do your best on these lessons.
Alright, so let's take a look at las actividades de hoy. I haven't officially decided if I'm going to do the actividades de hoy every day or not. You guys can kind of let me know what's helpful for you, what's working for you, and what isn't. Really, in general, just keep me posted on what's helpful for you and what's not. Bueno, hoy voy a presentarles nuevo vocabulario. So I'm going to introduce to you some new vocab that's not going to be on the quiz later this week. Luego vamos a repasar los adjetivos posesivos. Possessive adjectives are the things like my, your, his, her, our, etc. that we started looking at weeks ago now, before IPAs even. Y al final ustedes van a practicar posesión. So at the end you guys are going to do a quick possessive adjectives practice. That'll explain when we get there. Sí, hay una prueba viernes 27 de marzo sobre la familia, los adjetivos y posesión. So on the quiz on Friday, it's covering 3 main topics. First of all, the family vocab, just that main section of your vocab list. You don't need to know the words in the extra vocab section. So you need to know words like madre, padre, tío, tía, primos, etc. Just that main family section. In the adjective section are the words like travieso, lindo, enfadoso, etc. that are in that adjective section of your vocab list. And then posesión is what we're going to be working on today. Again, that's the my, your, his, her, our. And then also the whole apostrophe S situation that we're about to review here in a second. As far as real world goes, it's postponed until further notice. I haven't exactly decided how I want to deal with that yet. So for the time being, you can hold off on real world. Okay, so today we're going to take a look at a new section of your vocab list. It's called las actividades, or activities. And these words will not be on the vocab quiz coming up on Friday, but I wanted to introduce them to you so we can start working on them. All right, let's do some pronunciation practice real quick. I know it might feel weird, but I would encourage you to actually pronounce them and kind of repeat after me as we do in class. So the first one, repitan, jugar videojuegos. Jugar videojuegos. To play video games. All right, we already know jugar from jugar deportes, and the good thing is videojuegos is kind of a cognate. Video obviously is a cognate, and juegos means games in Spanish. All right, the next one, repitan, ver, mirar, la televisión. Ver, mirar, la televisión. And it means to watch TV. You can use ver or mirar, either one is fine. The next one, repitan, acampar. Acampar. And it means to camp or to go camping. Again, kind of a cognate. Next, repitan, cazar. Cazar. Cazar means to hunt. Next, repitan, pescar. Pescar. Pescar means to fish. Next, estar en el internet. Estar en el internet. And it means to go online or to be online. After that, repitan ver, mirar, películas. Ver, mirar, películas. So just like we saw ver o mirar with to watch TV, it also means to watch in this case, but instead of watching TV, now we're watching movies. Películas means movies. Repitan jugar juegos de mesa. Jugar juegos de mesa. And jugar juegos de mesa means to play board games. Next, repitan, hacer fogatas. Hacer fogatas. Hacer fogatas is to make or have bonfires. Dos más. 2 more. Repitan, dormir. Dormir. And it means to sleep. And the last one, repitan, hacer ejercicio. Hacer ejercicio. Hacer ejercicio means to work out or to exercise. Remember that H is completely silent in the word hacer. You don't pronounce it at all. And I know ejercicio is a little bit intimidating, but let's practice it one more time. Repiten, ejercicio. And I think you'll get the hang of it. Okay, I just wanted to briefly introduce those words to you today. Tomorrow we'll review them real quickly, and then we're going to work with them a little bit more. We're going to be able to talk later this unit about some more things that you like or don't like to do, and also other people in your life, what they like and don't like to do. So let's move on to our next activity. Our next activity is to review possession. Remember, we know in Spanish that apostrophe S no existe. Exacto. Wow, I felt like Dora there for a second. That was a little scary. So instead of using apostrophe S in Spanish, what do? I'm so glad you asked. There are two ways to show possession in Spanish. So possession is explaining like how something belongs to someone else or who owns something. One way that we can show possession in Spanish is using our de construction instead of apostrophe S. For example, you cannot say mi mamás hermano. It really just wouldn't make any sense in Spanish. So if you're trying to say my mom's brother, apostrophe S, you would have to say el hermano de mi mamá, the brother of my mom, el hermano de mi mamá, aka my mom's brother. So that's one way that we can show possession. The other way we can show possession is by using possessive adjectives. Possessive adjectives in English are my, your, his, her, our, or their. When you use these words, you're kind of showing how something belongs to someone else or how someone possesses something, right? So their Spanish equivalents are as follow: mi o mis, if you're using my, tú o tus, for your, if you're talking to a person that you have a familiar relationship with, su o sus, for his or her, nuestro, nuestros, nuestra, nuestras, all of those mean our, depending on the word that comes after it. Su o sus, if you're talking about you plural, aka if I'm saying your guys' book or your guys' computer, for example. That's when we're going to use su o sus. Su o sus also for their or your if you're talking to an usted kind of person. Okay, so I know su has a lot of different meanings, but the more we practice them, I think the more clear they'll become to you. And when we're using these adjectives, they must match in number with the object being possessed. All the possessive adjectives have two forms, a singular and a plural form. So let's look at some examples. If I want to say my sister, I would say mi hermana, mi hermana. My sisters, we become mis hermanas, because the thing belonging to me is plural, hermanas, right? The thing that I'm quote unquote possessing. Mis hermanas. Notice that it matches with the noun that goes right after the possessive adjective. This is something weird and different that we don't do in English. We don't ever say my's or yours, right? Definitely not in this context anyway. So it's something you just have to get used to in Spanish. Our has four different forms. It must match in number and gender with the object being possessed. For example, our brother would be nuestro hermano. Our sister, nuestra hermana. Our brothers, nuestros hermanos. Or our sisters, nuestras hermanas. Again, it has to do with the thing coming after that possessive adjective. That's going to determine whether you're going to have the O, OS, A, or AS ending. Okay, so hopefully this is all kind of refreshing your memory and coming back to you. We're about to do a practice in 1 second, and I'll give you some feedback in the upcoming lessons on any mistakes that we might be making. All right, we have already made it to our last activity for today, and this activity is a quick practice for our possessive adjectives. You'll see a link below this video to the worksheet that you're going to do, and if we look at the instructions, it says, complete the following with the correct form of the possessive adjective. So the modelo, or the example there, it says, no tengo something libros, and it really doesn't even matter if you totally understand the sentence. It gives you the word my in parentheses there, so I just have to think of what the word my would be in Spanish, and then change it singular or plural depending on the word that comes after it. So you can see there in the example, it would end up being mis. No tengo mis libros, which means I don't have my books. I will tell you, if you look at number 3, the de ti part there at the end in parentheses, de ti, it means they're talking to a tú, an informal kind of person. Okay, that's what it's referring to there for number 3. And you see that again in number 14. Again, de ti means you're just talking to a person that you would use the word tú when you're talking to them. Okay, if you look at part B, it says complete the following sentence with the correct form of the possessive adjective. If you look at the examples, el libro es del profesor. So it gives you a little clue in the first sentence who they're talking about. And then you're going to tell me, su libro es interesante. So his book is interesting. Again, the next example there, nosotros vivimos en una casa grande. We live in a big house. Nuestra casa tiene 12 cuartos. Wow, 12 cuartos. Our house has 12 rooms. So you're just going to fill in the blank there again with one of our possessive adjectives depending on the information that it gave you in the first part of this, in the first sentence there. Once you're finished with this activity, you're going to submit it here on Canvas. Please make sure to save your answers before you submit. And this activity is due Wednesday at noon.
If you have questions, comments, or concerns, you can feel free to message me on Canvas or send me an email. So that's all for today. Hasta mañana!